So I'm sure if you create videos, edit videos, do anything like that, you may have seen recently that tons of creators are switching over to Davinci Resolve. Now, I've been using Resolve since 2017, and I still think that the reason I chose it is extremely applicable today and continues to be, and it's because I think Resolve is probably the best video editor for less experienced editors. Now, if you watch any of my videos, you'll know that they aren't very complicated. I'm not doing a lot of complex editing in them. They're relatively simple, but Resolve allows me to do that super easily, but also sometimes throw some more complex things in there without having to put in too much work or having to learn too much. So today I want to talk about the 10 reasons that I think Resolve is incredible for less experienced editors like myself and like people who may be getting into editing for the first time, maybe editing some small things for school, for work, or for content creation. Now, the first big one for me was it being a single application. If you've ever used the Adobe suite, you'll know that every time you want to do a different type of task, you have to use a different piece of software. So Premiere is used to cut and edit. If you want to do motion graphics, you got to jump into After Effects. If you want to do audio editing, you have to jump into Audition. Now, the nice thing about Resolve is these are all baked within a singular application and they just have tabs along the bottom. So you have your media, your cut, your edit, your fusion page, your coloring page, and also your Fairlight page, which is for audio. And Resolve has its full delivery system built right into the program as well. You don't have to use an external encoder to do that like you would with Adobe. So the layout of these tabs also really promotes a good workflow, not necessarily one that I use. I typically do not use the cut page, but typically going through, bringing your media in, cutting it down to bite-sized pieces, going ahead and editing that, doing any kind of graphics or motion graphics that you want to do, coloring that, doing your audio, and then delivering it or exporting it is a great workflow to use, and the layout of the software kind of promotes that. Now, number two is probably one of the biggest reasons that Resolve gets promoted a lot, and it's for good reason. Resolve is free. There is a free version and a studio version. The free version has more than 90% of what the studio version delivers. The studio version just gives you access to a few more tools, like some AI and machine learning tools that are built into Resolve, 4K editing, GPU and hardware acceleration, some expanded format support, as well as HDR. And again, those AI and machine learning tools like face detection, speed warps, object removals, things like that. The paid version, however, unlike a lot of other software suites, is a single time payment. You make the payment once, you get all the versions forever for free. So there's no subscription model, none of that kind of stuff. You do one time payment, and a lot of times if you buy a piece of Blackmagic hardware, which we'll go over in a bit, you get the software for free, the studio version for free. So again, just more stuff. A lot of those paid features aren't things that less experienced editors are going to be using anyways for the most part. So I don't really consider it to be a huge thing, and I don't think a lot of people should use the studio version if they don't plan on using those things or if they didn't buy a piece of hardware. Now, 3 and 4 both revolve around the community, number 3 being tool creators. Now, if you've watched any of the other people talking about reasons that they like Resolve, a lot of the times they're going to talk about some of the free tools that are available out there, and a lot of those tools are created by other YouTube creators like Mr. Alex Tech, like Patrick Sterling, like Essential Video Editing, and many, many others. I will leave links to a bunch of them that I recommend down in the description below, but all of these people create some incredible tools and they give them all away for free. A lot of them will do a pay what you want kind of format where you can get it for free if you want to. You can pay them $1 if you want. You can pay them $500 if you want. But they put these tools out there available for everybody, and they make some workflow things incredibly easy. And these are people who use the software on a regular basis. So they're usually creating these tools to fill in gaps that they feel are missing, or to just make a lot of things way more convenient and easier to do. Now again, number 4 is also related to that community, and those are the teachers and educators that are out there that are doing a lot of this kind of stuff for free. A lot of these are people who do create tools, like I mentioned, Mr. Alex Tech, Patrick Sterling. You also got people like Casey Ferris. You have Jason Yedvlosky, and you also have Billy Ripka, and many, many others. Again, I will leave links to all of these people down in the description below, as well as a link to a section on my website where I kind of outline a whole bunch of these creators and what I utilize a lot of them for. But I've used almost each and every one of them for learning something different, learning how to improve my workflow. When I get stuck trying to have a creative idea appear in my editor, I usually end up YouTubing it and finding out a way to do it really well. And I've used a lot of their presets as well to help make my work just that much easier. And number 5, if you didn't know, Resolve used to be a color grading piece of software only, and it was the industry leader for doing that. A lot of people would end up editing in other pieces of software for TV shows, movies, online content, all that kind of stuff, and then they would go ahead, dump it into Resolve, and use that to color grade. But Blackmagic started adding more and more editing tools into Resolve, and it eventually became a full-fledged editing piece of software. And I think it having all of that is incredible. If you haven't learned all the other tools, it basically makes no sense if you plan on doing color grading to learn how to edit it in those tools and then go ahead and export and then color grade in Resolve. You may as well just learn how to use Resolve. It's super easy to do. Again, we have all these online creators out there. And honestly, even if you have used those other tools, it makes learning Resolve a lot easier. Obviously, you have habits and stuff that you've learned in other editing pieces of software, but I think if you're going to be doing a lot of color grading, using Resolve as your whole suite, like I mentioned before, with it being a single software package instead of having to jump between pieces of software, makes things super convenient and just a way better workflow. Now, number 6 is the constant improvements that Blackmagic is making to Davinci Resolve. On a regular basis, they listen to the community. They are always doing some incredible changes to the pieces of software, and they're slowly embracing more and more of these content creators who make a lot of videos around Resolve, make a lot of tools for Resolve, and kind of taking those ideas and implementing those into Resolve as a program itself and not having to do external tools. Blackmagic is constantly improving its AI and machine learning tools, and as all of this kind of technology continues to improve outside of the software, they're using the software to take advantage of all those things as well, which is awesome. Some of these things make life so easy. If you watched my Steam Deck video, I did a very subtle tracking using the AI tools to track my hand and move it over text. So a relatively simple edit. It only took me a couple minutes, but if I didn't have that tool, I probably, 1, would have never done that effect at all, because it would have taken too much time for the result that I would have gotten, or 2, it would have taken way longer for me to do that. Now, recently Blackmagic released an iPad app, and because of that, they're actually going to be simplifying the editing process. The iPad app is very stripped down, and it does not have all of the pages that the desktop app has. The app only has the cut page and the color page with the ability to deliver, obviously. What this means is that they're going to add more and more tools into the cut page, and eventually a lot of people believe, including myself, that the cut page will be able to do, maybe 90% of the editing that you would want to do in the desktop. You'd be able to do it all on the cut page and not have to jump into the edit page if you didn't want to. Now, 18.5 just got announced, and in that, there are a ton of things that people have been asking for in very recent videos. All these recent videos where people are talking about reasons they love Resolve, and reasons they're maybe switching over to Resolve, and they talked about the things that are missing from Resolve that they liked in other pieces of software. For example, auto-generated captions. Blackmagic has added in 18.5, the current beta right now, and it is awesome that they are listening to the community and implementing these things. I'm sure they've been working on it for a long time, but I'm sure people mentioning it also kind of gave them a little bit of a fire under their butt to get it done a little bit quicker. Number 7 is that a ton of tools are built directly into Resolve. You don't need plugins to do anything in Resolve. Now there are just so many great built-in tools that I don't really feel like I need a lot of external plugins. And these kinds of tools are things like voice isolation, a dialogue leveler, the magic mask, which is what I use to do that Steam Deck edit, depth maps, color editing, auto aligning audio, which is what I use when I edit every single video. I record my camera and my audio and my desktop separately, and I use the audio align to marry all that kind of stuff up and align all my audio without having to manually do clap syncing and all that kind of stuff. The audio sync is an incredible tool, and I use it, again, every single video. Face refinements, and also the auto detection of cuts. So if you're going to be cutting up something that has already been edited by somebody, or if you have a very long video file that has a bunch of cuts already in there, Resolve will automatically detect all those cuts and make life super easy on you, which is really cool. But yeah, there's just a ton of tools built right into Resolve, and for most people, especially less experienced editors, I don't think there's ever a need to go ahead and grab external plugins. Now, number 8 is their integration with hardware. As I mentioned before, if you buy a piece of hardware, a lot of times they end up giving you a studio license as well. So when I ended up buying the studio license, I was debating whether or not just buying the studio license itself. I wanted a lot of those extra tools to kind of play around with, or that I want to go ahead and grab a piece of hardware and get the studio license for free. And that's what I did. I ended up getting the speed editor. I don't use this all too much, to be completely honest with you. I do try to use it more and more. I'm trying to use it more on the cut page. This is extremely useful on the cut page. But the fact that they have all these great pieces of hardware that integrate really, really well with the software, for example, the editors, the color grading wheels, and their ATEMs and all those kinds of things, is an awesome thing for people who are looking to get more and more advanced and have the software kind of work around them growing as a creator. Number 9 is stability. Over the 6 years that I've been using Resolve and the 3 years that I've been using it on a more than weekly basis since I've been recording all these videos, I have only had Resolve crash maybe 2 or 3 times on me. And the nice thing is Resolve has a incredibly robust autosave feature that doesn't stop my workflow. It automatically saves my progress. So the couple times that it has crashed on me, I didn't lose any progress, or I maybe lost maybe 2 or 3 minutes worth of progress. You can make a lot of changes to the way that this autosave feature works if you'd like, but I have it just set to the default. It saved my butt many times. A couple of times that I've lost power, it saved me as well. But stability in general on Resolve has been great for me. Again, I use it on Windows 10 and Windows 11, so your performance on Mac may be a little bit different. And number 10 is one that I don't think a lot of people realize, but Resolve comes with a massive free sound library built right into the tool. If you have Resolve open, you just go ahead and go to the sound library. This is in the free and the studio version. You click on sound library, download Davinci Resolve's free sound library. You go ahead and download it. It'll bring you to the web page. You can go ahead and download that thing, and it has a ton of content in there. So once you go ahead and get that installed, and you go ahead and open up the sound library again, you will see for whatever reason it shows 0 results. When there's nothing in the search bar, it does that. If you put 3 asterisks in there, it will go ahead and show you all of the results for audio that you have. And these are all of the ones that were built into that free Fairlight audio library. And as you can see, we have 515 results. We have so many different sounds that we can use, and all of these are free and things that we can throw into any one of our projects. So to wrap things up, these are the 10 reasons that I think Resolve is incredible for inexperienced editors. I myself am a pretty inexperienced editor, even though I've been doing it for 3 years. I don't use editing software suites to their full extent. I don't do any crazy edits. I'm not a pro. I don't do anything particularly, spectacular or anything. My videos are pretty simple, but Resolve has been a huge component of that. I use it for YouTube. I use it for personal stuff. I use it for creating memes. I even use it at work. And the fact that it's free makes all of that way easier and way better. And I just think that Resolve is just an incredible tool. The community support behind it is also amazing. All of those teachers and tool creators that I mentioned are incredible people to talk to. If you ever have issues or you have questions, they're more than happy to help you out. Simon Stansfield, someone who is extremely active on YouTube as a content creator for Resolve videos, and also in the Davinci Resolve Discord and in Mr. Alex Tech's Discord, took the time to record a video to help me with a problem that I was having, where I was trying to figure out how to anchor keyframes. He took the time out, recorded a video, walked me through all the steps, and made the whole process for me way easier and way more simple to understand. But I hope I've got my point across about how much I love Resolve and how much I think it is a great tool for the community, and I really hope this video helped you out. If it did, I'd really appreciate if you like, subscribed. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. Big thanks to my patron sponsors, Thought Slime and Stepback, and thank you for watching the end of this video. If you do want to see any of my other tips and tricks videos, you can go ahead and check them out right up here. As always, stay safe out there. I'll see you next Saturday.